Story number 1. Eerie Memories of Halloween, 2001, Lost in Suburban Texas. I still recall that crisp October evening. My friend, Roger, and I had been touring Texas on a road trip. That Halloween, we decided to drive through suburban Texas. We relished the eerie beauty of the countryside, with its expansive woods that seemed to hold countless secrets. As the sun dipped below the horizon, a sudden movement ahead jolted us from our reverie. An animal darted across the road. My heart raced as I swerved sharply to avoid it. Our car crashed into a roadside fence and came to a sudden stop, slightly damaged. The experience had shaken both Roger and me. Nursing a few abrasions, we decided to stop for the night. An old dairy stood nearby, its aged structure oddly inviting. Collecting our things, we headed for it. On the way, we met Kate, a local medic, who attended to our minor wounds. While treating us, she mentioned that it was a strange choice to stay near the old dairy on Halloween night. Curiosity piqued, I asked, "Why?" She whispered, "Strange things happen here on Halloween. Many believe it's haunted." Roger, ever the skeptic, laughed it off, but I could sense unease in his eyes. Later, as night deepened, eerie events unfolded. Shadows danced around the dairy, and ghostly figures appeared near the woods. Whispers filled the air, recounting tales of accidents and lost souls. The old dairy became a gateway to the supernatural. Suddenly, a man appeared from the darkness, introducing himself as Henry, a local historian. He'd been investigating the frequent accidents on the road, suspecting there was more than met the eye. Together, we delved into old newspapers and articles. The truth sent shivers down our spines. Decades ago, a tragic accident had occurred on this very road. A school bus, full of children, had met a horrifying end. Many souls perished, their final cries echoing in the chilling wind. Henry believed that the spirits of the lost souls lingered, causing accidents to remind everyone of their tragic demise. The old dairy, standing witness to that fateful day, became a beacon for the restless spirits every Halloween. The night grew darker and the air colder. The ghosts grew bolder, their mournful cries echoing around us. We huddled together, praying for dawn. As the first light of day broke, the spirits vanished. With a heavy heart and a promise to honor the lost souls, we left the old dairy. To this day, when Halloween approaches, I remember that chilling night in suburban Texas, and the ghosts of the lost children who continue to seek justice and acknowledgement for their untimely end. Story number 2. Chilling Remembrances of Halloween, 2002, The Old Sausage Factory. It was a night I'll never forget. The fall of 2002, and 3 of my classmates and I decided to venture into suburban New York for a Halloween night drive. There was Peter, the jock, Emma, the studious one, Luke, the techie, and me, Sarah, an avid history buff. As I was driving, the atmosphere was alive with festive mischief. Trees adorned with the colors of fall bordered the road. Suddenly, a pale apparition dashed across our path. It looked eerily human, but its transparent nature revealed its ghostly form. Emma screamed, causing me to swerve uncontrollably, resulting in our car ramming into a signpost. Emerging from the car, the ominous shadow of the old sausage factory loomed in the distance. Considering it was late and our car was damaged, we decided to seek refuge in the factory, hoping to wait till dawn. Once inside, the cold air nipped at our skin, and the silence was only broken by the distant sounds of machinery. The place seemed untouched by time. As we settled in, we were interrupted by Dr. Alice, a local who practiced alternative medicine. She'd come searching for rare herbs found in these woods. Seeing our distress, she began tending to our minor bruises. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered, her eyes darting around nervously. "This place, it remembers." Confused, we were then approached by Robert, a retired cop who was investigating a series of accidents on the nearby road. Over the years, countless drivers reported ghostly apparitions, resulting in numerous crashes. Robert unearthed chilling truths. The factory once witnessed a horrific accident, where workers were trapped inside due to machinery malfunction. Many perished, and it's said that their restless souls took to the roads, causing the mysterious accidents. As night deepened, paranormal phenomena began. Eerie sounds echoed, and ghostly shadows roamed the woods surrounding the factory. Emma clung to Peter, while Luke tried to document everything with his camcorder. Throughout the night, we experienced terrifying visions of the factory workers, reliving their final moments. Their anguished cries haunted our ears, pleading for release. Dawn couldn't come soon enough. As the first rays of sunlight pierced the darkness, the restless spirits faded away, leaving the factory in utter silence. Heart-pounding and forever changed, we left the forsaken factory, vowing never to return. It's been years since that night, but every Halloween, as the chill in the air deepens and the leaves rustle, memories of the haunted sausage factory in suburban New York come flooding back. Story number 3. Shadows of Halloween, 2003, The Haunting of the Old Corn Mill. The memories of that night still grip my heart, pulling me into a whirlwind of fear and disbelief. The year was 2003, and my high school best friend, Jake, and I were on our way to a Halloween party in suburban Los Angeles. We were joined by our classmates, Mia and Charlie, both of whom added fun and excitement to the adventure. While I was driving, an unexpected danger presented itself. A massive rock, dislodged from the mountain, rolled onto the road. Panicking, I swerved the car, narrowly missing the boulder but crashing into a tree on the side. The airbags deployed, and a hazy cloud of dust filled our view. Stumbling out of the car, we found ourselves near an old, dilapidated corn mill. With night fast descending and our vehicle unfit to drive, we decided to take shelter in the mill. Dr. Raymond, a local herbalist known for his peculiar practices, found us as he was foraging nearby. He offered his medical expertise, tending to our minor injuries. As he worked, his eyes frequently darted to the mill, a shiver of dread evident in his stance. "Why do you look so afraid?" Mia asked, her voice trembling. Before Dr. Raymond could answer, Officer Natalie, a cop from a neighboring town, approached. She'd been investigating the series of accidents on this stretch of road, hoping to find a pattern. Whispering, she shared a chilling story. Decades ago, the mill was a bustling hub of activity. But one Halloween, a catastrophic event occurred. A massive fire broke out, engulfing the mill and claiming numerous lives. Ever since, every Halloween, spectral figures emerged from the woods, said to be the spirits of the deceased, causing mishaps and accidents. Throughout the night, we witnessed a series of harrowing events. The very woods around the mill came alive, the ghostly figures of workers trapped in an eternal cycle of pain and anguish. Their cries echoed in the night, their shadowy figures moving with a purpose to remind the living of their tragic past. Mia and Charlie, terrified, clung to each other while Jake and I tried to comfort them. As the hours dragged on, the paranormal activity intensified. The air turned cold, and the ghosts of the mill workers seemed to grow more desperate in their attempts to communicate. As dawn approached, the haunting slowly ceased. The spirits retreated into the woods, and an eerie calm settled over the mill. We left the old corn mill with heavy hearts and a newfound respect for the legends and tales of our town. Even now, Almost 2 decades later, the chilling events of that Halloween night in 2003 remain etched in my mind, a haunting reminder of the tragic past of the old corn mill in suburban Los Angeles. Story number 4. The Haunting Echoes of 2004, Secrets of the Old Dairy. In the shadows of memories, some events are vivid enough to send shivers down your spine years later. Halloween night, 2004, was one such event for me. Eager for a fresh adventure, my partner, Alex, and I planned a road trip through the suburbs of San Francisco. The evening was charged with the magic of Halloween. Spirits of the holiday were in the air, and we laughed and sang along to the radio. Our joy was abruptly cut short when a creature, its eyes gleaming in the headlights, darted in front of our car. Startled, I swerved the car to avoid hitting it, but in doing so, we crashed into a tree, causing minor damage. Finding ourselves amidst dense woods with darkness setting in, we noticed the silhouette of an old dairy nearby. Seeking shelter for the night seemed like the wisest choice. Upon entering the dairy, we were met by Mrs. Lillian, a retired schoolteacher with a keen knowledge of local folklore. She often visited the dairy for inspiration for her stories. As we conversed, Dr. Samuel, a local physician out for a night stroll, entered. He offered medical assistance, inspecting our bruises and ensuring we were all right. Our conversation naturally drifted to tales of the area. Lillian, her voice quivering, narrated the legend of the old dairy. Decades ago, on a night much like this, there had been a tragic accident. A school bus had overturned near the dairy, and many children tragically lost their lives. Ever since, every Halloween, their spirits were said to haunt the woods and roads, leading to numerous accidents. Alex, always the skeptic, listened with polite amusement. But I felt a sinking sensation in my stomach, as the oppressive weight of the tragic past filled the dairy. As the clock ticked and night deepened, we began to experience the eerie reality of the legend. Ghostly apparitions of children wandered the woods, their laughter turning into mournful cries. Shadows danced across the walls, and whispers of the past echoed through the air. Dr. Samuel, using his scientific rationale, tried to find logical explanations, but even he seemed unnerved. Alex clung to me, the weight of the legends becoming tangible. Through the night, we held onto each other, waiting for dawn, praying for the spirits to find peace. As the first light broke, the apparitions faded, leaving behind the mournful echo of their tragic past. We left the dairy with a heavy heart and an unforgettable experience. To this day, when Halloween approaches and the air grows chill, I remember that harrowing night in 2004. The tragic spirits of the old dairy in the suburbs of San Francisco serve as a somber reminder of the delicate line between the world of the living and the realm of the dead. Story number 5. The Sinister Shadows of 2005, Nightmares at the Sausage Factory. The past has a haunting way of resurfacing, especially when you try your hardest to bury it. It was 2005. And what was meant to be a night of fun and adventure turned into an unspeakable nightmare. In the heart of Miami's suburbs, I, along with my close friend Lily, set out to explore the lesser-known parts of the city. We were accompanied by 2 college seniors, Jake and Emma. As the evening unfolded, our journey was halted abruptly. Out of the darkness, a ghostly figure sprinted in front of our car. I remember its hollow eyes, fixed on us for a fleeting moment before it vanished. Panicking, I swerved the car to the side, causing a minor crash against an old signpost that pointed towards a dilapidated sausage factory. Considering the damage and the eerie surroundings, we decided the factory was our best bet to wait out the night. Soon after, we encountered Mr. Davis, a retired journalist known for his investigative pieces on local legends. With him was Dr. Martinez, a physician and paranormal enthusiast. They were there, piecing together the mysteries of the old factory. While Dr. Martinez tended to our minor injuries, Mr. Davis, with a solemn expression, unveiled the grim history of the sausage factory. Years ago, it had been the site of a massive industrial accident. A gas leak, overlooked and unchecked, had caused an explosion, taking many lives. Legend said that every Halloween, the spirits of those lost in the accident returned, wandering the roads and woods, waiting for recognition and justice. With nightfall, the factory and its surroundings turned into a playground of spectral horrors. Ghostly figures draped in work attire roamed the grounds, their faces twisted in sorrow and pain. Whispers filled the air, recounting memories of the accident and cries for help. Emma, holding onto Jake, tried to capture everything on her camera, even as fear made her hands shake. Lily, holding onto me, muttered prayers, hoping for the night to pass. Hours felt like years, and just when we thought the worst was over, the ghosts became more restless. Their anguished cries filled the night, a stark reminder of the tragedy that had taken place. As dawn approached, the apparitions retreated, leaving behind an eerie silence. With heavy hearts, we left the old sausage factory, each carrying a haunting memory. Now, years later, as the leaves fall and the air grows cold, the memories of that Halloween night in 2005 in the suburbs of Miami resurface. The tormented souls of the old sausage factory remain as a grim reminder of the past's inescapable grip. Story number 6. Echoes of 2006, the unforgiving night at the corn mill. Every once in a while, on a cold, breezy night, my mind wanders back to that fateful Halloween in 2006, a memory that has clung to my soul, refusing to let go. I remember it vividly. My close friend, Noah, and I had planned a night out exploring the Orlando suburbs, away from the usual high school parties. Along for the ride were Claire, a local radio host known for her spooky stories, and Mr. Williams, a historian with an unquenchable thirst for forgotten tales. As I drove, the mood was light, filled with laughter and playful banter. Our adventure, however, took a sudden detour when, out of the blue, a gigantic rock tumbled from the mountainside. The terror was palpable as I swerved, narrowly avoiding the rock, but slamming our car into a tree. Amidst the darkness, an old, eerie corn mill stood tall. Given our situation, we unanimously decided to spend the night within its creaky confines. Shortly after, Dr. Jennings, renowned in Orlando for his medical expertise, came across us while on a solitary walk. He swiftly attended to our minor injuries, all the while casting wary glances at the mill. Claire, her voice a hushed whisper, began to unravel the tale of the mill. Years ago, it was the site of a terrible tragedy. An unexpected machinery malfunction had trapped and killed several workers. Their spirits, bound to the mill, emerged every Halloween, haunting the woods and seeking retribution. As night took hold, our skepticism waned, replaced by an all-consuming dread. Ghostly apparitions, remnants of the ill-fated workers, emerged from the woods. Their mournful cries and accusing eyes were a haunting testament to their untimely demise. Mr. Williams, ever the inquisitive mind, started piecing together information, trying to uncover the mystery. His findings were disturbing. Negligence had been the cause, with proper safety protocols ignored, leading to the disaster. Noah, gripping my arm tightly, whispered words of reassurance, even as the air grew thick with tension and fear. Claire, her voice shaking, continued to broadcast live, capturing every chilling moment. We huddled close, praying for the night to end, and for the souls to find their peace. With the first rays of dawn, the spirits retreated, leaving behind an oppressive silence. We departed, our lives forever changed by the horrors of that night. Now, years later, the haunting memories of that Halloween in 2006 in the Orlando suburbs remain, a grim testament to the tragic past of the old corn mill and the souls that linger there. Story number 7. Whispers of 2007, The Dark Secrets of the Dairy. It's uncanny how, amidst the blinding lights and noise of life, certain memories stand stark and clear, refusing to be overshadowed. One such memory from 2007 constantly haunts me, a night when the line between the living and the dead blurred. That Halloween, my wife, Jessica, and I decided to explore the lesser-known parts of suburban Las Vegas. With the city's glitz and glamour behind us, we found ourselves on a desolate road surrounded by woods. Out of the enveloping darkness, a creature, possibly a coyote, darted in front of our car. Instinctively, I swerved, narrowly avoiding the animal but colliding with an old wooden sign that pointed to a long-forgotten dairy. Given our situation, the eerie, abandoned dairy seemed the only logical shelter. As we gathered our belongings, we stumbled upon Vanessa, a local psychic who claimed to be drawn to the dairy by powerful energies. Alongside her was Detective Anderson, who was investigating a series of unexplained accidents on the stretch. As night deepened, Vanessa began to sense restless spirits around us. She revealed the dairy's dark past. Many years ago, a massive fire had erupted, claiming numerous lives, many of whom were children. Their spirits, trapped and restless, haunted the woods and roads every Halloween, leading to countless accidents. With every passing hour, our skepticism transformed into undeniable fear. Ghostly apparitions emerged, their faces reflecting unspeakable anguish. The chilling cries of children resonated through the woods, creating an atmosphere thick with sorrow and regret. Detective Anderson, using his investigative skills, began to uncover more about the tragic event. The fire, it seemed, was not an accident but the result of a foul play covered up by influential people. Jessica, clutching onto me, whispered words of comfort, even as the air grew thick with supernatural tension. Vanessa tried to communicate with the spirits, urging them to find peace. As dawn approached, the paranormal activity intensified, reaching a crescendo of cries, whispers, and chilling winds. And then, as the first light broke, an eerie calm enveloped the place. We left the dairy at daybreak, our hearts heavy with the weight of the tragic history we had uncovered and experienced. Now, years later, as the autumn leaves fall and the air grows cold, memories of that haunting Halloween night in 2007 in the suburbs of Las Vegas come rushing back. The old dairy and its tormented spirits stand as a stark reminder of the dark secrets that history sometimes holds. Story number 8. Spectral Memories of 2008, The Honolulu Sausage Factory Nightmare. Time might heal wounds, but it seldom erases the scars. One such scar from 2008 frequently gnaws at me, especially when the veil between the living and the dead grows thin. It was a chilly Halloween evening, and my roommate, Ethan, and I decided to drive around the lesser-known suburbs of Honolulu, far from the beaches and bustling city life. As the sun set and the tropical skies darkened, our car's headlights caught the swift, ethereal form of a ghostly apparition. In sheer panic, I swerved, resulting in a minor collision with a dilapidated sign pointing to an old, eerie sausage factory. Considering the circumstances, Ethan and I, along with the lingering fear from our ghostly encounter, decided to seek refuge in the factory. As we explored the abandoned structure, we came across Mr. Nakamura, an elderly historian who had dedicated his life to documenting Hawaii's lesser-known tales. With him was Dr. Kalani, a young physician with a keen interest in local legends, who instantly offered to examine our minor injuries. Over the dim light of a lantern, Mr. Nakamura unfolded the dark history of the factory. Decades ago, there was a massive machinery failure in the factory during its late-night operations, trapping several workers inside. The accident had been buried in time, but every Halloween, the restless spirits emerged, replaying their final, tragic moments. Ethan, always curious, began exploring and soon found old newspaper clippings that confirmed Mr. Nakamura's tales. The accidents on the road were eerily frequent on Halloween nights, with drivers reporting ghostly figures causing them to swerve and crash. As night deepened, the factory's haunted legacy came alive. Shadowy figures, remnants of the trapped workers, roamed its hallways. Their spectral cries, filled with pain and longing, resonated through the cold night air. Dr. Kalani, trying to rationalize the events, couldn't hide the dread in his eyes. Ethan and I clung to each other, the haunting atmosphere making every minute seem like an eternity. The spirits, though not malicious, seemed to yearn for acknowledgement, for their stories to be heard and remembered. By the break of dawn, the spirits had retreated, leaving behind an overpowering silence. With gratitude and a heavy heart, we left the factory, our lives forever marked by that fateful night. To this day, as the October winds whisper through the trees, memories of that chilling Halloween night in 2008 in the Honolulu suburbs haunt me. The old sausage factory and its ghostly inhabitants stand as a testament to the untold stories that history hides. Story number 9. Lost Whispers of 2009, The Corn Mill's Haunting Secrets. Some memories possess the unsettling power to remain vividly alive, no matter how many years pass. One such indelible imprint from 2009 often revisits me, particularly on still, cold nights. The suburban areas around Washington, D.C. were rife with legends and forgotten histories. Driven by teenage curiosity and the allure of adventure, my friend Ryan and I decided to explore these lesser-known parts on Halloween night. The journey was lively, with the anticipation of the unknown filling our conversation. But, as fate would have it, our light-hearted venture took a harrowing turn when, without warning, a massive rock dislodged from the mountainside, tumbling onto our path. Startled, I swerved the car, narrowly avoiding the rock but crashing against a rusty sign that read, "Old Corn Mill." With dusk settling in and our car damaged, the looming silhouette of the corn mill seemed to be our only refuge. Inside, we encountered Mr. Harrison, a retired detective with a penchant for cold cases, and Ms. Eliza, a folklore enthusiast who'd written about haunted spots around D.C. They too sought shelter after their own near accident on the same treacherous road. As the night matured, Ms. Eliza, with a voice laden with dread, spoke of the mill's haunting past. Many years ago, it had witnessed a horrific tragedy. A group of children, on a school trip, got trapped in the mill due to machinery malfunctions, leading to numerous casualties. Their tormented souls, bound to the place of their demise, made their presence known every Halloween. Ryan, ever the skeptic, scoffed, but his laughter was short-lived. As darkness enveloped the mill, the night came alive with ghostly apparitions. The spirits of the children, their features frozen in terror, roamed the woods, their mournful cries echoing in the wind. Mr. Harrison, using his keen investigative skills, began unearthing old documents stashed in the mill. These hinted at the tragedy being no mere accident but a result of gross negligence, a fact buried to protect powerful interests. The reality of our situation set in. Ryan clutched onto a pendant his grandmother had given him, muttering prayers. The intensity of the paranormal activities peaked as midnight approached, with the apparitions becoming more aggressive, as if demanding justice. By daybreak, the spirits faded, leaving a deafening silence in their wake. With heavy hearts and a newfound resolve to uncover the truth, we left the mill, forever changed. Now, as autumn leaves fall and shadows grow longer, memories of that harrowing Halloween night in 2009 near Washington, D.C. still linger. The old corn mill and its restless spirits stand as a reminder of the buried truths that occasionally claw their way to the surface. Story number 10. Chilling echoes of 2010, the haunting of the Chicago dairy. Certain memories cling with a tenacious grip, refusing to fade away. The Halloween night of 2010 is such a memory for me, an eerie encounter etched deep in my psyche. My friend, Amanda, and I had decided to spend our vacation exploring the charming suburbs of Chicago. A sense of excitement filled the air as the golden hues of autumn adorned the trees. However, the tranquility of our journey was shattered when a shadowy creature, possibly a deer, suddenly darted in front of our car. My reflexes took over, and I swerved, narrowly avoiding it but crashing into a dilapidated sign that pointed toward an old dairy. With the night deepening and our car in no state to drive, the seemingly abandoned dairy appeared as our only refuge. Inside, we chanced upon Mr. Baxter, a journalist with a fervor for unsolved mysteries, and Ms. Lydia, an elderly local who had lived in the suburb for decades and claimed to be a medium. As the wind howled outside, Ms. Lydia, with an unsettling calm, began recounting the sorrowful past of the dairy. Years prior, a devastating fire had consumed the dairy, and many who worked there perished. Every Halloween, their restless souls emerged, haunting the vicinity and leading to numerous unexplained accidents on the road. Amanda, a lover of urban legends, listened with rapt attention, but her fascination was tinged with unease. As darkness claimed the dairy, ghostly figures began to manifest. The wails of the departed, filled with anguish and despair, sent chills down our spines. Mr. Baxter, sensing a story, began digging through old documents he'd brought, which hinted that the dairy fire was no mere accident. The blaze had been a result of a botched theft attempt by individuals who wanted to steal the dairy's secrets, and they had tried to cover their tracks with the fire. The spirits grew more palpable, their desperation evident. Ms. Lydia attempted to communicate, urging them to find peace and promising to unveil the truth of their tragic end. By dawn, the spectral presences had faded, leaving behind a silence that felt almost oppressive. We left the dairy with a mix of relief and a newfound mission, to bring the culprits of the tragedy to light. Now, with each passing year, as Halloween approaches, memories of that eerie night in 2010 in the Chicago suburb flood back. The old dairy and the souls it houses stand as a testament to the hidden secrets that sometimes lurk behind the veneer of everyday life. Story number 11. Specters of 2011, Nightmares at the Boston Sausage Factory. Certain chapters in our lives remain with us, perpetually replaying in the theater of our minds. For me, the haunting episode of 2011 is a tale that never ceases to send shivers down my spine. I, along with my college buddy, James, had set out to explore the mystique of suburban Boston on Halloween night. The evening had started as a jovial adventure, but our merriment was disrupted when a ghastly apparition, seemingly emerging from the mists of time, appeared before our car. Panic took hold, and I swerved violently, causing our vehicle to screech to a halt beside an old, crumbling sign indicating a nearby sausage factory. Given the late hour and our car's compromised condition, we had little choice but to seek shelter within the ominous building. Inside, we crossed paths with Ms. Clara, a renowned paranormal investigator, and Professor Gray, an anthropologist with an interest in local folklore. Their presence in such an eerie place wasn't mere coincidence, they were on a mission to unravel the enigma of the factory. As shadows grew longer, Professor Gray recounted a harrowing tale. Decades ago, the factory had witnessed a dreadful mishap. A malfunction in the machinery led to a catastrophic accident, claiming many lives. Those souls, unable to find solace, returned each Halloween, their spectral forms a chilling testament to their tragic end. As night deepened, James, usually the bravest among us, clutched his camera tight, capturing ethereal figures that began to manifest. The echoing cries of those long gone filled the air, creating an atmosphere thick with sorrow and regret. Miss Clara, with her specialized equipment, began her investigations. Eerie EVP recordings captured voices from the beyond, repeatedly mentioning a name, Walter. Professor Gray, upon hearing it, deduced that Walter was the factory's overseer at the time of the accident. Further research unearthed a diary, indicating Walter's greed had led to cost-cutting measures, resulting in the faulty machinery. The spirits seemed to resonate with our discoveries, their energies becoming more pronounced, seeking acknowledgement of their untimely demise due to negligence. The hours passed slowly, each minute stretching interminably until the first rays of dawn heralded the end of our ordeal. The phantoms receded, leaving us with a heavy responsibility to share their story, to ensure their voices were heard. Today, as the leaves turn golden and fall, memories of that chilling Halloween night in 2011 in suburban Boston come flooding back. The old sausage factory and its spectral inhabitants stand as a stark reminder of the price of human greed and the stories that the past refuses to relinquish. Story number 12. The Shadows of 2012, Hauntings of the Philadelphia Corn Mill. Every so often, there's a chapter from our past that refuses to stay buried. For me, the events of 2012 remain as vivid as ever, etched into my psyche like a chilling scar. It started as a simple joyride, a spur-of-the-moment decision. Lucy, my high school best friend, and I had decided to explore the outskirts of suburban Philadelphia on Halloween night. Our laughter and chatter echoed in the car until, in a split second, everything changed. A gargantuan rock tumbled down the mountain path ahead, causing me to swerve violently and collide with an old sign that faintly read, "Corn Mill Ahead." The old corn factory loomed nearby, its silhouette casting eerie shadows under the moon's glow. Considering our predicament, we decided to take refuge there for the night. As we cautiously explored the creaking structure, we stumbled upon Mr. Matthews, an aging journalist with a passion for unsolved mysteries, and Ms. Harper, a medium who had earned quite a reputation in Philadelphia for her abilities. Mr. Matthews, ever eager to share his findings, began recounting the mill's dark past. Decades earlier, a horrendous machinery accident had occurred, leading to multiple fatalities. The cause was never determined, and the factory had been abandoned, left to rot. But as legends would have it, every Halloween, the spirits of those who perished returned, lingering in a liminal space between life and death. As darkness deepened, the atmosphere grew thick with anticipation. Soon, ethereal figures began emerging from the woods, their mournful cries echoing through the night. Lucy, clutching her necklace, whispered her fears, while Miss Harper attempted to communicate with the restless spirits. It was during these attempts that a revelation emerged. One spirit, particularly strong, conveyed that the machinery accident was no accident at all. There had been foul play, orchestrated by a rival mill owner, and it had been covered up. Mr. Matthews, intrigued by this revelation, pulled out old newspaper clippings and began connecting the dots. It became evident that a conspiracy had silenced the truth, condemning the spirits to eternal unrest. The haunting reached its zenith just before dawn, with apparitions manifesting all around us, desperate for their story to be heard, to be believed. As the first rays of morning light pierced the horizon, the spirits retreated, leaving an overwhelming sense of sorrow in their wake. As the years have rolled on, The haunting memories of that fateful Halloween night in 2012 near Philadelphia remain ever potent. The old corn mill, with its spectral inhabitants, is a stark reminder that the past, especially when tainted by injustice, has a way of seeping into the present. Story number 13. Echoes of 2013, The Dairy's Dark Secrets in Suburban Dallas. Certain memories, no matter how terrifying, remain rooted deep within our souls, reliving them in our nightmares. My chilling encounter from 2013 stands as a testament to the secrets that time attempts to bury. Anna, my wife, and I had embarked on a seemingly tranquil journey through suburban Dallas. The serenity of our drive was interrupted when a swift-moving animal, its eyes glinting menacingly, darted across the road. The abruptness of the situation led me to swerve, the tires screeching in protest as our car made contact with a wooden signboard that bore the inscription, "Old Dairy, 2 miles ahead." Considering the damage to our vehicle and the engulfing night, we had little choice but to trek to the nearby dairy. To our surprise, the dairy wasn't as abandoned as we had presumed. We were met by Mr. Finch, an investigative journalist, and Dr. Lorraine, an archaeologist who had been studying the history of ancient settlements in the area. As we settled in, Dr. Lorraine narrated a haunting tale associated with the dairy. Years ago, the dairy had been the site of a catastrophic event. A large section of it had collapsed, burying workers alive. The accident was deemed a result of natural decay. However, rumors persisted of foul play, alleging that the dairy was built atop ancient burial grounds, and the spirits were unsettled. As midnight approached, the temperature seemed to drop inexplicably. Ethereal figures emerged from the woods, their tormented faces bathed in the moonlight. Their wails, eerily harmonized with the wind, sent shivers down our spines. Anna clung to me, her face pale, as Dr. Lorraine attempted to decipher any patterns in their appearances. Mr. Finch, piecing together old news articles and maps Dr. Lorraine had, made a startling discovery. The dairy's location did indeed overlap with ancient burial grounds. Furthermore, the collapse wasn't due to decay. It had been a deliberate act by someone hoping to erase the dairy and its unsettling history. The spirits, agitated by our discovery, intensified their presence, demanding acknowledgement and justice. Their sorrow and rage were palpable, and it felt as though the very walls of the dairy would crumble under their anguish. With dawn's first light, the apparitions receded, leaving us to process the horrors we had witnessed. Now, as years have passed, the memories of that spine-chilling Halloween night of 2013 in suburban Dallas haunt me. The old dairy and its spectral inhabitants stand as a grim reminder of the past's ability to break through the veil, seeking acknowledgement and retribution. Story number 14. Whispers of 2014, The Sausage Factory's Unsettled Souls in Suburban Phoenix. Memories, especially the ones etched in fear, have a tenacious grip on the psyche. As I recount the spine-chilling events of Halloween night 2014, a cold shiver runs down my spine, reminding me of the terror we experienced. That night, driving through the outskirts of suburban Phoenix, Mark, my college roommate, and I were indulging in nostalgia. Our light banter was interrupted when a spectral figure, eerily translucent, appeared right in front of our car. My heart raced as I swerved, narrowly missing the apparition but ending up beside the rusted gates of an old sausage factory. The damage to the car rendered it immobile. Given our precarious situation, we decided to take shelter inside the factory. Inside, the echoes of our footsteps met two others, Ms. Rosalind, a local historian, and Mr. Dawson, a paranormal investigator. They were there, hunting for truths interwoven with myths surrounding the factory. Ms. Rosalind, her eyes reflecting years of research, began her tale. Years prior, the factory had been bustling until a tragic machinery malfunction occurred. Many workers lost their lives, and the incident was hastily labeled an accident. However, whispers in the community hinted at something far more sinister. As the darkness deepened, the atmosphere grew cold, and a haunting chorus of disembodied voices filled the air. Transparent figures started manifesting, wandering aimlessly. Mark clutched his flashlight, casting it around nervously, while Mr. Dawson set up his EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, device. What came next was chilling. The EVP recordings captured voices, repeatedly alluding to sabotage. One voice stood out, murmuring revenge, taken, but at what cost? Mr. Dawson and Ms. Rosalind pieced together the grim puzzle. It turned out that a rival factory owner, jealous of the success of this sausage factory, had orchestrated the accident. The spirits, now aware of our presence and the revelations, grew agitated. The spectral intensity peaked, with cries for justice echoing throughout the factory. As dawn's first light crept over the horizon, the restless spirits faded away, leaving behind a heavy atmosphere of sadness and unresolved vengeance. Years have since passed, but the memories of that haunting Halloween night in 2014 in suburban Phoenix remain vivid. The old sausage factory stands as a stark reminder that unresolved past traumas can manifest in the most unexpected and terrifying of ways. Story number 15. The Hauntings of 2015, the San Diego Corn Mill Mystery. Every time Halloween approaches, a particular memory, dark and haunting, resurfaces. A memory that forever changed my perspective on the afterlife. Allow me to take you back to that fateful night in the suburbs of San Diego in 2015. Kevin, my high school friend, and I had planned a drive through the suburbs, hoping to catch some ghost stories on Halloween. The night was dark, the moon barely a sliver, when suddenly a massive rock rolled onto the road. I swerved, adrenaline surging, narrowly missing the obstacle. However, our car suffered, and it groaned to a stop near an old, dilapidated sign reading, "Corn Mill Ahead." Considering the circumstances, we opted to take shelter in the old corn factory, our phones barely holding onto their charge. Inside, we met two other individuals, Mr. Bennett, a historian with a penchant for local myths, and Ms. Alera, a psychic medium known throughout San Diego for her uncanny abilities. As we shared our reason for being there, Mr. Bennett began recounting a tale from decades ago. The mill, once flourishing, had witnessed a horrifying accident. Machinery malfunctioned one fateful night, causing a collapse that trapped and killed several workers. While it was deemed a tragic accident, many believed there was more to the story. As the witching hour approached, the surroundings grew eerily cold. Shadows shifted, and soon, spectral figures emerged from the woods, their eyes hollow with years of pain. The air was filled with their mournful cries. Ms. Alera, her face pale but determined, tried establishing a connection. Through her, a spirit revealed a shocking truth. The accident had been orchestrated. Greed and jealousy from a business rival had resulted in sabotage, forever trapping the souls in a cycle of anguish. Kevin and I, both skeptics until that point, were gripped with fear. The restless spirits, yearning for justice, intensified their presence, their cries echoing throughout the mill. As dawn began to break, their apparitions slowly faded, leaving behind an oppressive weight of unresolved vengeance and pain. Today, years after that haunting Halloween night in 2015 in the San Diego suburbs, the memories remain, vivid and terrifying. The old corn mill stands as a grim testament to the lengths humans can go out of greed and the souls that remain trapped due to such malevolent acts.